Life, Strength, and Health Podcast, episode 61. Welcome, everyone. This is Life, Strength, and Health Podcast with Jamal and Kim, where each and every week we educate, empower, and inspire you to live healthier. So let's dive into the show. Hi, Kim and Jamal here, and welcome to another episode of Life, Strength, and Health Podcast. I'm Kim, and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes, and this is episode number 62, which is part 2 of our Truth About Fat series. Hopefully you checked out part 1. And if you haven't, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/60 for part 1 of this 4-part series. And like I said, this is our 4-part series on the truth about fats. It's something that Jamal and I definitely wanted to share because fats are a powerful part of our diet. And a lot of times we are consuming the worst type of fats and we're not even aware of it. And a lot of this is leading to a lot of health imbalances within the body. So we are definitely excited to share this information.
Yeah, definitely. Fats just for so long have gotten a bad rap to the point where people try to stay away from them. And more and more research is showing that, fats are more vital than the other nutrients that we're getting in our bodies.
Yes.
So we want to set the record straight, and we don't want people to be afraid of fats. We want people to be aware and understand what fats they need, what fats they need to avoid, what the studies are beginning to show to help you just to make the best decision possible when it comes to the fats that you're choosing in your diet. Today, we want to continue that conversation. It is a 4-part series, but hey, we might even do more,
right?
Because it is just that important. So we really want to spend some time talking about it. Like in the past, we've spent a lot of time talking about vegetation and water and things like that. So we want to give fat its due justice because people aren't really talking about it. They're talking about it in smaller camps, but they're not really talking about it, especially in our community. So we really want to shine some light on this situation.
Yeah, definitely. And before we, dive into our organic food for thought segment, I just want to say, thank you for everyone out there who is listening to our show. Our downloads are steadily climbing, and we are so grateful for the support. We receive great feedback from, you guys that are listening. So thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. And please continue to share our message out there because it's our mission to educate, empower, and inspire you to live healthier. And so the more people who hear of our show, the more lives that we are reaching and hopefully empowering and inspiring you to change and to improve your health for you and your family. And, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, all the podcast players. We are available. And you can also go to our website, lifestrengthandhealth.com/podcast to get all of our previously released episodes. So thank you so much for listening and continue to support us. So for the organic food for thought, in this episode, we're going to continue to talk on the topic of olive oil. And I want to share with you a list from Dr. Axe where he gives you 5 tips on olive oil on how to buy the proper one for you. Okay, so tip number 1 is be suspicious of any extra virgin olive oil that costs less than $10 a liter. I'm sure it's great to see those prices in stores, but just know you get what you pay for. So Be suspicious of buying any extra virgin olive oil that costs less than $10 a liter. Tip number 2 is look for a seal from the International Olive Oil Council, the IOC. So look for that on the seal of your bottle of olive oils. Tip number 3, look for a harvesting date on the label. So if you don't find that, then probably the olive oil isn't of good quality. Tip number 4 is anything labeled light, pure, or a blend isn't virgin quality. So if you see those labels, light, pure, or a blend, it isn't virgin virgin quality. Okay, and you want extra virgin olive oil. Then the last tip number 5, shop for oils in dark bottles because this protects the oil from oxidation. Okay, so those are the 5 tips from Dr. Axe on buying good quality olive oil.
Yeah, and the reason why we're taking this time while we're in our oil segment to come back and to continue to talk about olive oil is because almost every single person, anyone you talk to, they have olive oil at home.
Right.
You know, like it's probably, as far as the oils are concerned, everyone considers it to be healthy. So everyone buys olive oil. But the tips that we're giving you is to help you to navigate through the hype of olive oil, because whenever something is popular, companies are going to jump on the bandwagon and they're going to water it down and they're going to give you poor quality stuff. And you think that you're doing the right thing, but you're really actually hurting yourself. So it's important that we give you these tips so that you can understand what's going on with olive oil. And just to speak on that a bit, just so that you understand with olive oil, just the way that they have these tasters around the world that taste wines and the quality of wine, you have olive oil tasters, people that professionally taste olive oil to determine the grades and the clarity and the purity of olive oil. So this is a serious oil, and it's expensive, right? Like Kim said, $10 a liter minimum. You know, a lot of times we see these sales and we go for things cheaper. So just understand what it is that you're buying. So the more of these things that you look for and that you look at, the better your chances of getting a good quality olive oil. And all oil, especially vegetable oils, are light sensitive. So to get something in a dark bottle, you know that while it's on the shelf forever, for no matter how long, if it's by a window and the sun is shining on it, you know that your oil is protected.
Right. And once you start listening to the rest of the parts of this series, you will understand why you do not want to put bad fats into your body. It's going to blow your mind.
Right. And the last thing that I want to say in regards to olive oil, remember we gave a study last time talking about how, well, we didn't do the study. We spoke about the study where a study was done on all of the commercial olive oil out there, and it was revealed that 70% of the olive oil on the shelf isn't actually real olive oil. It's a blend, right, or it's a weak version, or some of it wasn't even olive oil at all. It was imposter oils. So I just wanted to give you a quick list. These oils that I'm going to give you, they passed the test. They were 100% olive oil, good quality olive oil. And obviously this isn't the only list, but these are the ones that they revealed in what we were reading. So the company Corto Olive, the company Ottavio, the company Omaggio, the company Buriana Olive Oil, another company called Lucini. Then there's another company called Kirkland Organic. I believe that's Costco's. Then Lucero, another company, Olea Estates. There's another company called McEvoy Ranch Organic.
I'm sorry.
Then there's another company called Cobram Estate. And the final company is California Olive Oil. I know Kim is laughing at these names, but when you think about where olives, are manufactured, it's Italy, it's France, it's Spain. So you're going to have these, more, European type of names to them. Maybe when you see an American company, you want to give it the side eye. Maybe that's a good way to tell, that you're getting better quality.
And I know that list was pretty long. And if you're driving and you're not able to write that down, I'm going to list them in the show notes page. So just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/61 and you can see that list of good olive oil companies.
Yes.
So let's dive into part 2 of The Truth About Fats. So part 1 was just the introduction, laying down the foundation of what we're going to be discussing in future episodes. But part 2, we are diving into fats that you should avoid. So This to me is mind blowing when we, continue to do our research and continue to learn things about ourselves and things to help our clients at our holistic center. It's just amazing when you continue to keep growing and learning this stuff, how it can become life changing. And it has personally changed my life. Even I'm continuing on my health journey because you never stop, improving your health. And these things that we're sharing with you, these are things that we implement into our own lives. So I'm so excited to share this information.
Yes. And I just think that this is just so important. It's so important. And we want to reveal the unbiased truth about it, because a lot of times just in the past on our show, we talk about plant-based eating and we talk about vegetation and things like that. We don't really talk a lot about, or in the past, we haven't really been speaking a lot about like animal products and things like that. And just kind of, listening to the shows and looking back a bit, we may have given an impression that, all animal is bad. And, that's not really the case. So we want to really make sure that moving forward that
we balance the scales.
Yeah, we balance the scales and we make sure that it's balanced and people, just have the real truth about it based on, studies and things that are out there and our own personal studies with the, thousands of people that we have worked with. So I think that it's really important. So when it comes to fats, not all animal fats are bad, just like all vegetable fats are good. Right. So what we want to talk about today is the bad fats that you definitely need to avoid. And unfortunately, the worst fats are vegetable fats. And I know that we've been taught differently. We've been taught that all animal fats are bad, and it's almost been made to seem like all vegetable fats are good, but it's not true. So the first type of fat that I want to talk about is hydrogenated oils, right? Hydrogenated oils were introduced to the food industry back in the 50s, and it was created to imitate saturated fats and butters, right? So at that time, saturated fats were dominating the food industry. So when we talk about saturated fats, we're talking about butter. We're talking about, lard and from pigs and cows and things like that. People were using all different types of animal fats and butters. And at that time, heart disease was a lot lower than it is now. Mm-hmm. And, just like we revealed in part one, and we exposed how, there was an intentional kind of campaign to villainize the bad fats and to uplift, I won't say the bad fats, but to villainize the animal fats and to kind of angelize the vegetable oils and the margarines and things like that. And that was, very harmful to the health of our country. So we're talking about vegetable oils. Vegetable oils or hydrogenated oils are very inexpensive to make. So basically what they're doing is they're bombarding the vegetable oils with hydrogen, and it turns it from a liquid state to a solid state. So now it's like we have this solid form like a margarine, and it's made from vegetables. So it's like we can use it like butter. We can use it in our foods and our different recipes and in packaged products and things like that. And it can be used like butters, right? So one of the main things when they first started making these hydrogenated butters, they were using cottonseed oil. And it's so interesting. Like if you look at the history of our food industry, a lot of times the industry capitalizes on waste. So whenever there's a bunch of waste and they're just throwing this waste away, they try to figure out a way to put this waste to use. So, the cotton industry is a huge industry, and you have these seeds that were left over. So the soy industry began to use the cotton seeds to extract oil, and then they would use the oil to hydrogenate it and turn it into these vegetable butters, right? And it's just so crazy how the industry does that. So this was a waste product, a waste byproduct that they turned into a food source that they begin to use. So it's very important to understand hydrogenated oils, right? So a hydrogenated oil, your body doesn't recognize that as a food. It doesn't. And hydrogenated oils is one molecule away from plastic. That's how close. Yeah, that's how close it is to plastic when it gets hard and it thickens like that. So when it gets in our blood, it thickens our blood and it slows our blood flow down, and which can lead to high blood pressure, and it can also lead to artery plaque. So it's very important to understand what happens when hydrogenated oils get in your body. So when you're consuming a food, it's very important that you read the label and that you understand what it is that's in your food. So whenever you see hydrogenated oil, you
run.
You want to run. You literally want to run. And what they're doing now is they'll use words to soften it. So they'll say partially hydrogenated oil, as if that really sounds better. If you see partially hydrogenated oils, it doesn't matter what it is. You want to read the ingredients. And if you see partially hydrogenated oil or hydrogenated oils, you want to get away from that oil. Okay?
And just kind of thinking about the connection when you're saying it hardens the arteries. So if you already have an imbalance in your body where your cardiovascular system is already strained, consuming these type of oils, fats, hydrogenated fats, is only going to weaken and worsen your condition.
Yes.
It's going to, your blood circulates around your body to transport nutrients and oxygen. And it's so vital to having good health. So when you consume these things each and every time, just think you're taking away, you're withdrawing from your health bank. You're not adding to it each and every time. And when you are conscious of the things that you're eating and you read the labels and you ask questions at restaurants, you'll see that you're consuming it a lot more than you think, a higher amount than you really think that you are.
Absolutely. And the next oil that we want to talk about, a bad fat, are trans fats. And when I say trans fats, if you know what a trans fat is, you should automatically, kind of get the chills, like the cold chills, like you're afraid when I mention the word trans fats, because that is one of the most toxic things that you can put in your body. We talk about how your body doesn't recognize hydrogenated oils. Your body really doesn't recognize trans fats. Trans fats, when your cells consume the trans fats, it actually turns your cells into almost like zombies. It spirals them out of control, and they wreak havoc in your body. They infect other cells in your body, and it causes this chain reaction of rogue cells in your body. So trans fats is very, very toxic in your body. And based on the work of Dr. Fred Kumenrow, author of Cholesterol is Not the Culprit, who has researched fats and heart disease for over 50 years, based on the information that he gives, trans fats clog the arteries and they cause heart disease.
Wow. Right?
And they wreck your memory. Based on a study that was done by the American Heart Association, they did a study on young to middle-aged men with trans fat in memory. And the study revealed that these men who ate large amounts of saturated fat had a significantly reduced ability to recall words during a memory test. Right? So it's affecting your cognitive abilities. We're talking about trans fats. So you definitely want to get away from trans fats. And the thing with trans fats is that trans fats are in hydrogenated oils. So just in having hydrogenated oils, you're going to consume trans fats. And finally, the FDA, they're beginning to really see and understand how destructive trans fats are. And they're working right now to actually ban trans fats. But the problem is deep because it's in almost everything. Like
everything.
If you're getting packaged foods, most likely it's in it. So we're talking about, if you're going to ban trans fats, we're talking about a complete overhaul in
the food industry.
Yeah, the food industry. And we know that this is about money. So the pushback has got to be tremendous right now. So I don't know if this is a battle that they're going to win anytime soon.
You have to get on the front lines and be your own advocate, because when I hear information like this, or when I learn of it, when you take responsibility for your health, we can't rely on the government to protect us. I mean, that's why they're there. But unfortunately, when economics is in play, sometimes the consumer is not the priority. But we can make a difference in our lives, and we can put money into our health bank instead of withdrawing it on a daily basis for ourselves and our families.
Right. Just to dive in a little bit deeper with hydrogenated oils and trans fats and things like that, they're mostly coming from vegetable oils, right? So let's talk about vegetable oils. Vegetable oils are very heat sensitive, right? So just by applying heat to vegetable oils, they turn into trans fats. So based on the research of Dr. Catherine Shanahan, an MD, and the author of Deep Nutrition, she talks about just the vegetable oil process. And based on her research, when the oil is extracted from the vegetable source, the seed or the bean, like soy, for example, trans fats are produced because they have to be heated. So you have this heat sensitive oil that has to be heated during the process. So it's automatically creating trans fats. So when you're buying these vegetable oils, it already contains trans fats. And I just want to read something from her book, because she talks about just the canola oil process. And I think it's important to look at it because in the oil industry, canola oil is considered to be one of the healthier oils, right? A lot of restaurants will use canola oil with pride, and with pride. With pride.
Yes, they do.
Like they will, advertise that we use canola oil in our meals. And that's a problem. Canola oil is looked at as a health food. So it's in a lot of health products, but it's not as good as it's cracked up to be. So let me read this. Canola oil degrades so rapidly that a testing company needed to find the purest canola oil to use as a standard against which other oils could be compared. Couldn't locate any canola oil, even from pharmaceutical grade manufacturers, with a trans fat content lower than 1.2%. This means that vegetable oil and products made from vegetable oil contain trans fat even when the label seems to guarantee them trans free. One thing that I think is important for you to understand is legally how it works with labels. When it comes to labels, nothing is absolute, because there's certain standards. A company is allowed to say that something is 100% as long as it meets a certain percentage or doesn't go over a certain percentage. So for trans fats, for example, as long as it's under a certain percentage, they consider that to be small enough to say that it's trans fat free. So let me just read further. Chemical analysis shows that even bottles of organic expeller press canola oil contain as much as 5% trans fats plus cyclic hydrocarbons and oxyphosphosterols, which are highly damaging to the arteries. Of course, natural fats are all okay before they're processed and refined. So there's no harm in eating corn, soybeans, sunflower, and other tasty seeds. But it's just this way that they're processed that produce trans fats, right? So a vegetable oil can contain as much as 5% and be labeled trans fat free. And we were having this conversation, me and Kim, the other day with my sister. And if you bought a bottle of oil on it and it said contains 5% trans fats, like, would you still buy it?
Right.
You know, would you still buy any oil? If you went to the store to buy, you know, let's even say if it was olive oil, you went to buy olive oil and you was looking on the shelf and you see olive oil, then this one company says olive oil, this product contains 5% trans fats. You would run the other way. You wouldn't buy it.
It's like it's advertising only 5%. It will harden your arteries. Like it looks ridiculous. Nobody would purchase the product. So for marketing's sake, it's not very appealing.
Exactly. But that's what it contains. So because of that, they're able to say that it doesn't have it because the percentage is small.
Right.
But just understanding what trans fats do when they get in your body, they destroy cells and they cause your cells to go rogue and create other rogue cells to not function and do the things that they're supposed to. So 5%, even though it's a small percent, it gets in your body and it multiplies. So it doesn't matter how much trans fats you get. You don't want to get any trans fats, or at least these artificial trans fats. You don't want to get any of these trans fats into your body. So what we did was we compiled the list of oils that you definitely want to stay away from. When I read these oils off, when I say stay away, I don't mean don't buy them. I mean, check your labels and make sure that
it's not in the foods that you're eating.
It's not in the foods that you're eating. This is very important. It doesn't matter what it is. If you see these oils, no matter where it's at on the list, you want to try to stay away, right? So let's begin. So margarine and non-butter spreads. This includes most of the vegan butters out there, right? So in a study that they did, it has an effect on bone growth and sexual development in children. And it has an effect on sexual dysfunction in men, as well as cellulite in women.
And I can speak on that. I will share a personal moment, because Jamal and I, we've eaten 100% plant-based for over 10 years. So we've consumed a lot of these vegetable oils. And even for me, I eat healthy, I exercise, and I developed cellulite on the back of my legs. And, I would do cleanses and detoxes and things of that nature. And it would, go away a little bit. But when I implemented, eliminating these harmful vegetable oils from my diet, in less than how many? I don't even.
I would say, what you think? Maybe like 30 days.
Right. In 30 days, my cellulite is pretty much gone. It's gone. And it's not like I did scrubs or any external things. It was being more mindful of what I was consuming. And it's amazing, so my mind was just blown. Because I wasn't even trying. Like I was just changing my diet because I'm just like, I can't consume these things, even though I thought they were good. And I had immediate, feedback. So that was just crazy.
Yes. So the next oil is canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower seed oil, corn oil, grapeseed oil, safflower seed oil.
And a lot of those oils, like when I know for me, when you used to see them on packages, you're like, okay, it's a healthier oil,
right? Yeah.
But
you would think that you saw sunflower seed oil or corn oil or grapeseed, you would think that it was good. And obviously cottonseed oil, that's just a waste product. We definitely want to stay away from that.
Right. And if you're driving, like I said before, I will include this list as well in the show notes pages at lifestrengthandhealth.com/61.
And it's mindful that you pay attention to the packaging of the foods that you're eating, because one of the things that we realized when we started to understand these oils on a deeper level is that they're in all of the salad dressings. Like we couldn't find not one salad dressing that had a good oil in it. They would always spoil it. It would be like olive oil, and you're like, yes. And then it would say may contain cottonseed oil.
Like, come on.
Or olive. It'll say olive oil / canola oil. Like, what does that mean? What does olive oil / canola oil mean?
Like,
does it mean that, like, if you're out of olive oil, that then you have to use canola oil sometimes? Like, I never understood when they put that product on it. So what we found is that, we had to start making our own salad dressings. None of the commercial salad dressings are good, or at least the ones that we've researched. The only one that I have researched that has 100% olive oil in it is the Bragg company. The Bragg seems to make good olive oils, but outside of Bragg, if it's not a crazy oil, they're going to put some type of sugar in there. And we spoke about that in the last episode, talking about like if between the oil and the sugar, those is what disrupt. So it's either going to be an oil or sugar in there. So you want to be mindful when you're looking at these salad dressings. Packaged products, you have to read the label.
Yes.
The ingredients, not the nutritional value. That's what people get stuck at, the nutritional value. And we did a show on label reading in the past.
I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, you want to check that episode out. It's important. It's not about the nutritional value, because they put a lot of vitamins and synthetic vitamins and minerals into your foods. So you're looking at the nutritional value and like, wow, this has a lot of good nutrition in it. But meanwhile, they just added it back to the food because the food didn't have it in the first place. So you want to read the ingredients, check the ingredients list and make sure that it doesn't have these oils in it. And then the last thing is restaurants. Like, you really want to make sure that these restaurants aren't using these oils. And
right.
I tell you, for us, when we really started to dig into this oil thing, and we just made the decision that we weren't going to put any more bad oils in our body, like consciously. Sometimes things happen, it does, but we weren't going to consciously use these bad oils. What we did was we called around to all of the restaurants that we go to, that we frequent. And these are restaurants that we consider to be healthy restaurants, because, that's the only type of restaurants we go to that are somewhat healthy. We found out that, out of all of the restaurants we went to, it didn't matter if it was, like vegan, whole food types of restaurants. It didn't matter. Like, they were using oils.
Most of them,
I would say 90% of the restaurants were using these oils that we no longer consume. They were using some form of vegetable oil. And sometimes they'll say it with pride, yes, we use soybean oil, and it's crazy. So we stopped, unfortunately, very unfortunately, because the food was great and the food tastes good, but we stopped going to these restaurants.
We were even on the fence of, should we talk with the owners and just... Right. We want to support businesses as entrepreneurs. A lot of times people stop frequenting places and never really communicating why they stopped.
Yes.
But as an entrepreneur, that feedback, even though you might not want to hear it sometimes, helps a business to continue to grow. Yeah. So we were on the fence.
Yeah. We were on the fence with that. And we actually, for some, not all, but for some, we actually decided to have that. The ones where we were, we had a relationship with the owner. We decided to have that conversation. But, some of the other ones, it's just bigger chains, and you have no connection with the owner and things like that. So, we're not going to do it with those, but the smaller mom and pop type ones, we're going to bring that to their attention, at least so they know, and they maybe they're not aware.
Right.
I was reading an article, and it was talking about, just the transition, if restaurants decided to switch over to olive oil, using olive oil instead of the other cheap oils, it would be a 50% loss that they would take as far as like per meal. They would lose 50 cents. Which, can add up to a lot of money, long-term wise. So what we was...
You said 50 cents,
50
right?
cents,
50
yeah.
cents.
50 cents, yeah. They would lose 50 cents per meal. And we're just thinking, like, just raise your cost by 50 cents. And I personally think that people would get it and understand if you just say that, we're only using olive oil moving forward, and it's going to cost us 50 cents extra per meal to add in olive oil. So all of the prices are being increased 50 cents. I don't think people will have a problem with that. I don't think you're going to lose business for 50 cents.
Right. Yeah. And if you explain to them why, I would pay 50 cents more to improve my health instead of hindering it. So definitely, I think just with education, because a lot of times, you just don't know, and it's okay. But when you find out, what do you do with the information?
Right.
So that is the conclusion, right? I
Yes.
think we shared a lot of information. And this is all to just, help to educate everyone out there, because a lot of times we have these imbalances in our body and we're giving attention to the wrong area. And, the things that you consume is like the number one culprit, or one of the top culprits of why you experience health challenges in your life. And oils is, so huge, it doesn't get enough attention. And that's why we're doing this series. So now that we have discussed the fats that you should avoid and why, now it's about getting into some action steps about what fats should you be consuming and where do you get these types of fats. So that is part 3. That's where we're heading in part 3. So stay tuned for that next week, where we continue our fats, all about fats series. Part 3 will be diving into fats that you should consume and why. And as I mentioned, I'm going to list all the information in the show notes pages, the information about the good olive oil companies, the information about the vegetable oils to avoid. And also I'm going to list the books that Jamal was referencing. So if you wanted to pick that up and read it, you can as well. So before we go, I want to say thanks for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to the show if you're not already on. If this is the first episode that you're listening to, welcome. We hope that you got value from it. And, go to our website, lifestrengthandhealth.com/podcast to check out our previous release episodes, and make sure you join our email list so that you're notified of anything we have going on in the future. Okay, so until next time, live healthier.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Stay healthy.
We want to say thank you for listening to the show and for access to the show notes pages, more podcast episodes, blog content, as well as more information about our center, Life, Strength, and Health. Then just visit us at lifestrengthandhealth.com. Until next time, live healthier.